Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of This Spot with me, Raliegh. Today I'll be having a different member of the fish farm as I share with you another interesting topic in the fish keeping hobby. Today my colleague and I will be looking at the breeding of Tetra fish. Now you have several Tetra fish out there and persons may have issues breeding them or might want to breed them or have bred them, and just I encourage you to just tune into this discussion as we journey through our experience. Hi, Brent. I can't pronounce his name. Could you pronounce your name for me, please?
It's pronounced Brinegar. Sounds just like vinegar. In German, it's actually Brinegar, but Americanized, it's Brinegar.
Hi, Brinegar. Is that right? Hi, Brinegar. What's up? Raliegh here. How is everything in Kentucky? How is the weather? How are you doing?
AJ, hi, what's up? Raleigh, the weather in Kentucky is crazy. Here we are in late April, and we had snow this week.
Okay, good. Today I would like for us to look briefly at the breeding and the care of Tetra fish, right? Would you agree that the breeding of Tetra, as in most cases, egg-bearing fish, right, can get really tricky? Have you actually kept or bred these type of fish before?
Raleigh, the only Kerrison that I have successfully bred is Colombian Tetra, and I discovered that these were breeding totally by accident. I found a fry in my Daphnia culture, and I was able to grow it out and realize I had a Colombian Tetra. Then I realized that these things breed like roaches. The only problem is saving the fry. So I discovered that I usually catch fry when I do a gravel vac in a tank where they're breeding.
Okay, it's cool, it's interesting. I have kept black skirt tetra and a few barbs. I have bred both tiger barbs and black skirt tetra. Now those experiences I will share with you in a bit.
Raleigh, I have also seen my black skirt tetra breeding, but they consume the eggs, probably most if not all of them, before they hit the gravel. So I have never seen any fry from my breeding black skirt tetra.
I think tetra should be kept in a species only tank. Tetra and barb have you actually kept them in a community tank? You know they have the issues of actually nipping at other fish fins and tails, right?
I've never kept tiger barbs or any species of barbs to my knowledge.
I like their colors and patterns, but the nipping they make on other fish, especially fish with fancy tails like guppies, can get really annoying. I have kept tetra and guppies in the same tank, and a few days after, when you look at the guppy tails, like like your feathers, they're like just flash out, right?
Raleigh, I have kept Colombian Tetra with fancy guppies, and they don't seem to pay any attention to them. So fin nipping only seems to be confined to amongst each other. In fact, some of them sometimes take out an eye or both eyes of a particular fish. So they're nipping amongst each other. Members of their own species can get quite out of hand.
Where are you at the price range of these fish normal for a fish of this quality, or is it expensive according to your standard?
I wait until I have 50 Colombian Tetra at least an inch long before taking them to my favorite pet store, and I get $1 each store credit, and that pet store sells them for $2 each.
Well, if you should actually equate Jamaican currency with American currency. In Jamaica, it's probably about $1.50 US for one, right? I usually purchase 5 or more, since they tend to thrive together in groups of 5 or more. A question for you. I was asked by someone new to the fish keeping hobby whether or not barbs are schooling or shoaling fish. What's the best answer for that?
A shoal of fish is a group of a singular species that stays together, congregates together. Schooling behavior is when the fish move together in unison.
I totally agree. I like to see them move together within the water. It looks so unique and really cool.
Yes, schooling fish should be kept together in groups of 6 or more.
On the matter of breeding, I believe these fish are cannibals, honestly, right? I believe they are cannibals. These fish will lay their eggs, hundreds of eggs in the community tank, and then turn around and consume every single one of them.
Yes, characins do eat their eggs and their fry. Basically, any vertebrate or invertebrate they can get their mouth around, they will consume.
I use a breeding net when I am actually breeding these type of fish, right? I will place the breeding net into the tank itself, and the fish inside the breeding net about a ½ inch away from the base of the tank. And whenever they do lay, they are unable to get to the eggs. 25 to 30 gallon aquarium with a cover. I ensure that the net is at least 1 inch from the base of the tank, and watch and wait. Of course, you would have to identify the male and the female, and it may take a while for the spawning process to begin.
Raleigh, I simply keep them in groups of 6 or more and keep them as healthy and happy as possible, and they will breed.
Share with me, my friend. What are some of the clear signs to look for when the tetra is nearing to spawn, when the male and the female is ready to spawn, to release those eggs and fertilize these eggs? Share with me what to look for.
Well, I've noticed that Colombian tetra that are round and full tend to be females, and the ones with the deeper colors tend to be males, and these are thinner in appearance. When they are at least 1 inch, perhaps a bit larger, they do begin to breed if they're in good condition.
I like those options. In Jamaica, the weather is constant, dry or wet season, right? We don't have seasonal variation like you guys. The use of heaters in aquariums are not necessary. However, it is recommended that the temperature be kept at a specific range. Have you ever kept any forms of curries with tetra? I'm going somewhere with this. Just follow me a little bit.
Raleigh, I have kept Corydoras aeneas, and I have noticed that they laid eggs, but I never had any of those eggs hatch.
For me, I have kept a few tetras with curries, and I realized that the curries will eat the eggs and will also eat the fries of my guppies once, right? What would you do, right, in the case your tetras, they lay eggs? You are able to separate them from the eggs before they actually consume them. They are healthy, and you have over 200 tetra. What would you do with so much fries?
I maintain all of the water that I remove from my tanks in a 10-gallon aquarium. Usually don't notice the fry for a few days, as they are generally very tiny at first. Sometimes I do catch larger fry with gravel vacs, but usually they are so tiny that they're hardly noticeable. But I do begin to feed them brine shrimp nuclei immediately, and they seem to be able to use this as a first food, because I did try to put infusorians, green water, in the tank, and this caused more losses than anything else. The infusorians tend to spoil and soil the water, so I discontinued doing that. I start my Colombian Tetra fry on brine shrimp nuclei.
With regards to filtration, what's the best type of filtration that you would use with regards to the filtering of a tank with Tetra?
Sponge filters are good. They do take up a lot of tank space, so I prefer to use the hang on the back. Sometimes I put a sponge on the end of the intake for a hang on the back filter in my fry starter tank, but it doesn't seem to be necessary, as the fry don't tend to get sucked up in a hang on the back filter. So usually I just start with a 5-15 Aquatech hang on the back filter in a 10-gallon tank, and I don't seem to notice any fry being damaged at all by this. So
for me, with regards to the whole idea of the Tetra having so many fries, I would have sell them to the local fish shop. I'll probably even give away some to other fish keepers. And with regards to the whole idea of filtration, what I tend to do, I tend to use the air stone. For me, during the early stage care for Tetra, I use either air stone, I just put the air pump in the tank, and what will happen is that the air pump will just oxygenate the water, and periodically I will siphon. Yes, I will get a few fries, but I will actually place them back, although in a sense it kind of stressed them out.
Raleigh, I've been keeping fish since I was in grade school. The main goal for me is to keep them as healthy and happy as possible. And if they breed, this is an added reward, because I feel like if they are in good enough condition and they're happy enough to breed, then this means that I've accomplished something.
Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. I like that. I like that. I like that.
Well, Raleigh, with my experience, live bearers tend to consume a lot of food and produce a lot of waste. If allowed to, guppies in particular, and also platies, will eat constantly. So I hadn't noticed characins producing more waste than live bearers.
Share with me and the viewers as to the best suggested method of breeding successfully Tetra.
Ideally, I would start Tetra, particularly medium-sized Tetra, in a 29-gallon tank or larger. A 10-gallon tank is quite small for adult Colombian Tetra to have 6 of them. So I would try to start with at least a 25-gallon, but currently I have several 10 gallons and a 75-gallon and a 112-gallon. So when my Colombian Tetra reach probably 3/4 of an inch, they immediately go into one or the other of the larger tanks.
Wow, Mr. Brinegar, you have such a vast knowledge, really good knowledge as to the breeding of Tetra.
Thank you very much for inviting me for this conversation, Raleigh. I've really enjoyed it.
It is hoped that we can chit-chat probably next week on your channel, of course, a little bit more about your experience in the fish keeping hobby, right, where we can talk a little bit more beyond breeding of Tetra. Join me, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, on Mr. Brinegar's channel. The link will be in the description below next week, as I chit chat with him, as I speak to him in regards to experiences within the fish keeping hobby. It goes beyond the breeding of Tetra. It resonates on the fish keeping hobby. Very broad topic. I can guarantee you that this will be interesting. This is Raleigh here from Fish Keeping Jamaica. I hope that this discussion, this on-spot discussion, was of value. I hope that you actually gather something from it. Very much. Join me next week as I invite another guest on my channel on the spot. Bye from now, Raleigh. Irie.